I'm a student at the Funds Dance Academy. I'm in the profile Jazz Urban and I'm now in my third year. During my study, I started to ask myself some questions like, can you teach hip-hop dance? Does academical hip-hop exist? What is real hip-hop? What makes a hip-hop dancer authentic? Why I'm so fascinated for the underground battle scene. I will hope that I will find some answers during my research.
When was the urban profile implemented at the Focus Dance Academy? I think it's more than 5 years ago. The reason for that is that if you look nowadays in the world what is happening, dance styles are mixing so fast. Yeah? These dance styles are mixing. There is happening a lot in the streets, and the Dance Academy wants to bring it up to a level that the urban dance styles can be more in a theater form.
The dream is believing in you and only you. The vision is your reality, is your destiny.
I am who I am. It doesn't matter what you think I am. I am who I am. You are who you are. It doesn't matter.
Let's say hip hop is what I call is a modern folk dance. Dance-wise, it's very easy. It's the same we did for thousands of years, but now it's changed. Hip hop is a dance of the city, of the struggle, of the folklore, of the stories of the ghettos, right? In America. And then right now we're doing the same, which is translating a dance of the city. My city is Eindhoven, so I dance a little bit like the city. That's why they call it urban, a culture of the people. It's when you have nothing and you create something. That's hip hop. That's how basic you can do it. I have no instrument, I'll use turntables. I have no pen and cannot make canvas, I'll use graffiti. I have no classes to go to ballet, I will dance on the street. I cannot sing because I don't know how, I'll rap. So it's creating something out of nothing in a kind of urban environment.
What I feel which is happening a lot is that the academic world is like, oh, let's take hip-hop off the streets and put it here because it's popular and the kids love it and it might be something interesting. But I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, academic world, go to the streets and see how that is. The streets is a metaphor for the place where hip-hop lives because it's not necessarily on the street. But I think that it needs to be both ways. And what I feel now a lot is that it's like, oh, come, I'll pick you off the street, hip-hop, and I'll teach you how to be a good boy or a good girl. And it's like, no. With that, you deny the entire thing, and it's the same thing that from the other side, it's like, you can't just come into an academy and not realize, as from a hip-hop perspective, and not realize that there's a certain code, there's a certain way of talking, there's a certain way of being, there's a way of discipline, and I think these things can go hand in hand, or maybe it's in a constant struggle. I just think it's an interesting point.
You cannot teach hip-hop. As whole, it's impossible.
I've been teaching all over the world for a long time. And all of the forms that I'm teaching are different forms coming from the history of American dance, of African American dance. I have a very clear didactic, and maybe that's what makes me valuable as a teacher. I'm very proud of the didactic that I have, also because I see that it functions, and also because I see in the hip-hop world that there is a lot of missing didactic. And so the way that I teach is to not teach any one genre. Of course, it also makes a big difference whether you're teaching for the same students over 3 years or whether you're teaching a weekend work.
In underground hip-hop, you don't have just a few inspirations or a few teachers. All of the dancers with them you're jamming are your inspirations, are your teachers.
Man sollte erstmal dieses Denken von Community lehren,
Ne? Erstmal die Leute verstehen lassen, so Hip-Hop geht es nicht darum, ein Star zu werden, sondern es geht nur darum, wie in jeder anderen Kunst, sich selbst auszudrücken. Ne? Deswegen ist Hip-Hop, wäre ein Kunstfach für mich in der Schule. Ne?
Teacher who went to the core of most of the styles. I'm getting other teachers in the school to make sure that there's a foundation of techniques, and in my class I will use some of the techniques, and I make crossovers.
Hip-Hop für mich ist eine Einstellung. Also so man lebt Hip-Hop oder man lebt es nicht. Also das ist schon, wenn du Schuhe kaufst, du achtest darauf, dass die Schuhe bequem sind, dass du damit tanzen kannst. Wenn du Klamotten holst, achtest du darauf, dass sie bequem sind, dass du dich frei bewegen kannst, dass sie nicht zu eng sind, nicht zu steif oder dass du dich gut fühlst. Und das ist halt eine Lebenseinstellung im Hip-Hop.
But I think I teach myself, you know, like I think when people ask me to do a hip-hop class, it's like, because a lot of times people just want to learn choreo, and I can, you know, teach you choreo and teach you how to do the choreo. Always this moment when somebody surprises themselves. And that's why I like to teach improvisation with tasks, because it's a way to challenge people out of their habits, and then they find something, and there's this moment when they do something that they don't realize, or if they realize it, there's this moment where I just go like.
Ich unterrichte selber auch und ich habe mir da auch viele Gedanken drüber gemacht und habe mir die Frage gestellt, was erwarte ich, wenn ich als Tanzschülerin in einen Hip-Hop-Unterricht gehe. Und ich erwarte, dass der Trainer mir nicht nur irgendwelche Moves zeigt, die ich quasi einfach nur übernehme. Also ich will keinen Vorturner haben wie in der Schule, sondern ich möchte jemanden haben, der mir diese Hip-Hop-Kultur auch zeigt.
I think the most important thing is to teach the foundation and the information. The thing what we have right now is many times that people just have a movement and they don't know where's the movement coming from, what is the movement meaning for some people or for other people. People just move, and the end is good if they do it on the music, but it should be more information, more history, because behind everything is a story.
In b-boying is you go into the room and you do your stuff, and then you ask someone, hey, can you show me that move? And then he shows you, and then you have to do it about 1,000 times, and then you can do it, and then you can teach it, and then someone else is going to learn it.
If you want to learn something, then you have to get yourself to New York, or you ask people from there, or you just get your knowledge from somewhere. If you don't care about it, then you cannot say you're a hip-hop, because it's just talking to anybody and telling some stories where then was not the truth. So if you want to know something, then get there and talk to people who have the knowledge, then you can understand, and if you can understand something, you can become Hip-Hop.
Tanzschulen, die Hip-Hop quasi für andere Tanzstile als Wort missbrauchen oder halt eben anders definieren. Also ich bin auch schon in vielen Hip-Hop-Kursen gegangen in Tanzschulen, wo ich nicht den Ansatz von Hip-Hop entdeckt habe, und das finde ich schade.
And then I rely like ballet relies on. I rely on some very basic repetitive exercises in order to gain the technique, because what I know from hip-hop and the club forms is that the way that they are learned is by doing them over and over again. Not by learning a choreography and repeating the choreography, but by repeating the same techniques until they become something more sublime than the physical motion.
Wenn ich jetzt in die kommerzielle Szene schaue, wie dort Hip-Hop unterrichtet wird, das ist halt sehr stark ausgeprägt nach Ästhetik. Die Bilder müssen 1:1 stimmen, die Bewegungen, es wird sehr stark auf Synchronität geachtet. Wobei in der Underground-Szene kommt es eher darauf an, dass man individuell ist. Also jeder ist ein Individuum, dessen Style einzigartig sein soll. Und ich glaube, dass das so zwei verschiedene Aspekte sind, dass es sehr wenig Schnittpunkte einfach gibt. Vorstellen, dass es sich das vielleicht zukünftig noch mehr kreuzt, weil ich sehe schon in der kommerziellen Szene, dass sie sich auch immer mehr in den Feinheiten vermischt mit der Underground-Szene. Und man sieht auf Battles immer mehr auch Leute aus der kommerziellen Szene.
I don't study it, but I know a lot of people who do it every day, really hard work. I mean, they go to school or they go to work and they don't even go home and go to practice till they fall down and go home and sleep. So it's like an academy.
Do they, how do they learn? I mean, like, do they learn with the teacher in front, or do they learn like jamming?
Most of them they're jamming.
But I don't just teach popping, I teach the techniques from very many dance forms at the same time, so that students are creating a base that is going to give them the potential to branch out into specific forms, or also to use the technique that they have for their own voice. In this case, it's not even hip-hop or any specific hip-hop genre that I'm teaching. It's more of a physicality that is representing different parts of Hip-Hop.
Ich denke, Hip-Hop ist einer der obersten Lehren, die man lernt, ist, dass wir alle eins sind, aber dass wir alle individuell sind. Und das ist das, was man zuerst beibringen muss. Und gerade das Individuelle auch. Ne? Dass jeder lernt, ne? Jeder hat seine eigenen Skills, ne? Jeder hat seine eigenen Stärken und Schwächen. Und deswegen gibt es halt kein System, wo du so 30 bis 40 Leute unterrichten kannst auf einmal und sagen kannst, okay, ihr müsst so und so und so machen und dann ist das Hip-Hop. Das kann man so nicht als Fach unterrichten. Wenn man das halt unterrichtet, so wie wir, ich und meine Crew, unsere Schüler unterrichten, ist es halt sehr individuell, immer 1:1. Ne? Auch wenn wir mehrere Schüler haben, vielleicht 4, 5 Stück, ne? Aber niemals Riesengruppen, denen wir dasselbe vermitteln. Wir sagen jedem, okay, bei dir ist vielleicht so und so, ne? Du hast diese Stärken, du bist oben gut, du bist unten gut, ne? Deine Arme sind stark. Ist ja bei jedem anders. Ja, und darauf kommt es an. Individualität.
One of the most important things to do to learn hip-hop is to understand the culture, also because it offers the best practice method. It offers the best inherent didactic, because this is an organic didactic which also created the forms. So what I would like to offer students is the ambition to chase after these forms on their own, in order that they can that they have a chance to get them, because an hour and a half a week or even 3 hours a week is not sufficient. So in order for them to get hip-hop dance, they have to become hip-hoppers, which is a lifestyle and not a subject. And this lifestyle requires a lot of time and it requires a lot of ambition.
I choose for the jazz urban profile because I want to learn the techniques from hip-hop, like popping and waving, to use it in another context in the theater.
To be free with the material, and I know that there's and I know it takes going back to the source first, but then be free with it. And this is what I think is important, especially here, because we are in the art academy, and it's not about just reproducing steps. It's about being a creative artist, and it's not about necessarily representing a style. It's about how do you transfer a theme, a concept, emotions, whatever a choreographer is asking from you. So yeah, be free with all the material that you have, that you can use to work with, and don't get stuck in boxes.
I think first and foremost, joy and fun. I think we all do this because we love it, and I think we lose track of it way too much, especially in the institutionalized dance schools and academies, because it becomes so much about results, grades and marks, and getting credit points, and it's like, wait a minute, we're dancing.
Hip-Hop ist zu meinem Lebensstil geworden, so wie man das sagt. Ne? Also, ich wache auf und bin in Hip-Hop schon drin. Ne? Das ist kein Ort, wo ich mich reinbegebe oder so, sondern Hip-Hop ist wirklich mein Leben geworden, was früher nur ein Hobby war. Und ja, ich finde halt in dieser Kultur und in dieser Szene und auch im Tanz selber nur, finde ich immer wieder neue Dinge. Und ja, es gibt ja viele Elemente, die man macht, so wie ich schon gesagt habe. Ich habe alles schon probiert, ein bisschen DJing, ein bisschen Graffiti, ein bisschen, also früher habe ich richtig gerappt, bevor ich getanzt habe, sehr, sehr lange, nur 6, 7 Jahre. Und so bin ich zum Tanzen erst gekommen. Also durch den Hip-Hop bin ich zum Tanzen gekommen. Nicht wie viele andere durchs Tanzen zum Hip-Hop. Und deswegen bei mir ist der Hip-Hop im Vordergrund.
What is underground hip hop for you?
To be honest, I don't really think it exists anymore. I think that even the authentic scene is completely unauthentic. I like to see people going out in a battle and trying to pretend they're an original b-boy. For me, battling is no longer a soul of hip-hop.
And my teacher Adnan taught me house is about feeling and about love and about sharing. And so I started to battle because it was just exciting, it's like a game. And I saw all these people and in some way they're hating each other. Sometimes they do. In house battles not so much. And I had this big problem. How can I feel love and sharing myself and at the same time battle, you know, against somebody? And then I was at SEK and we talked a lot about the scene, and the solution was that a battle is, you don't battle this person, you battle yourself because you want to give the best at that moment.
Battle is doing this with the energy, jam is doing more feeling the vibe and feeling the energy. And if you're a real good dancer, you can understand all of them. You know, you can. At some point, you need to jam and share the energy. At some point, you need to stand on the ground and kick somebody's ass.
Also Jams ist auch wieder mehr so ein bisschen die Schule, ne? Und Battles ist das, wo du dann dich testest. Das sind die Tests.
Von diesem ganzen Alltag und der Gesellschaft, die wir hier in Deutschland haben oder auch weltweit haben, diese Gesellschaft der Gewohnheiten, der absoluten Strukturen, der Regeln. Und das ist auf einem Battle, das fällt alles von dir ab.
For me, dancing is most beautiful as an exchange between people instead of a competition. The competition always starts to surface because we want to be good. But I think establishing the competition as the motive for the social gathering is the wrong order. I think we dance because it's something that people like to do when we're around each other. It's a good way to be with each other, and it's a good answer to the question, what should we do tonight? The battling is, for me, farther removed from this very beautiful social element.
Wenn die Leute nicht selber zu einer Jam gehen, dann werden die nie wissen, wie das ist. So.
For people that are practicing house, hip-hop and popping maybe a little less, but let's say not breaking styles, they need to learn how to jam. Because those styles emerged in club party atmosphere, and if you understand this, you'll feel much better what you're dancing. Like if you're a house dancer, you've never danced in the club, something is really wrong. Really wrong. It's the same like a b-boy has never had a battle in his own life. Like people I know, I've been b-boying for 5 years, but I've never went to a battle. But I'm like, huh? Okay, weird, strange. So why do you b-boy then?
I think there's not a special scene like this underground. This is more or less underground. I think underground for us means just being more into something than other people. It means more knowledge about history. What I said before, people created something to have something together, to make a step together. It's like something that's social, and if we have something that we can tell, like a story, a movement that's have a story.
It's not even about being the best, it's being the best version of yourself in that moment. And I think we dancers that are more from an institutionalized background completely lost touch and confidence with that aspect of yourself, to just be in a circle with people that have an opinion and are just showing what you got, you know. So I always tend to move through everything, so then you kind of don't get really to the nitty-gritty of a lot of things. First time when I saw it, I was like, whoa, you know, it's like intimidating, and it's also because we become so perfectionistic as technically trained or academically trained dancers that you don't want to fail, and it's not about making it or failing it, in a battle like that, or in a cipher, let's say. It's about being that and doing you. And doing in the academy, you get a lot of dance created for the moment. So when the moment's there, we're already so prepared and confident that we know what to do. But if you have to create dance in the moment, which is a big passion of mine, I love improvisation, freestyling, because it's that moment, and your preparation is just your life before that moment.
Hip-hop battles means to me exchange, meeting my friends, meeting new people and having fun.
In the commercial hip-hop scene, it's more a very professional way to work, that you don't really talk about personal things. And if I talk about anything in the hip-hop scene, in the underground scene, somebody, then it's most time something personal.
Hip-Hop ist eine Kunst, ist ja kein Sport, und Sport hat ja mehr so Regeln. Ne? Aber es gibt auch Tanzsport, deswegen geht es da mehr um die Regeln. Ne? Das ist eine Schublade. Aber die Kunst an sich, so, die muss man eigentlich ohne Regeln so betrachten. Ne? Dass man sagt so, okay, man ist frei, man betrachtet einfach, ohne zu denken so, okay, diese Technik, ne? Sondern es geht ja um die Seele, deswegen sagen wir, show me your soul. Ne? Man will die Seele sehen, man will nicht irgendwelche Techniken sehen. Aber dennoch ist es wichtig, erstmal diese Schule zu machen. Weißt du? Die Regeln muss man erstmal ein bisschen durchmachen so, und dann muss man genauso viel Zeit damit verbringen, das auch wieder zu vergessen. Weißt du? Du musst es lernen ein Jahr und dann musst du es ein Jahr wieder vergessen. Damit du es dann auf den Punkt bringen kannst. Damit du einfach frei sein kannst. Aber die Technik ist in dir drin so, in deinem Körper.
Für mich hat Hip-Hop keine Regeln, deswegen liebe ich Hip-Hop. Ich glaube, die einzigste Regel ist, sei frei.
Nein. Weil ich so einen Respekt vor dieser Sache habe, dass es für mich ein Weg ist, der zu erreichen ist, weißt du? Und wenn ich sage ja und Schluss, dann habe ich auch das Kapitel eigentlich schon beendet.
Puh, heiß diskutierte Frage. Für mich persönlich bedeutet wirklicher Hip-Hop, dass man offen ist.
Authentic is, for me, if you have your own style. Right now we have the problem that too many people have the same influence, and it's like Star Wars. We have so many clone warriors, and there's just one Darth Vader or one Jedi Knight or a few Jedi Knights. But you have to be a master, you really have to get into your material, and you have to create it with a lot of passion and inspiration from different styles. In the end you have something that makes you really strong and authentic. This unique style is something that you can see so many times.
Crump is something deeper than you can see. It's something deeper than what we do out here, deeper than dance. Find it out yourself. But what I can say is Crump, in short, kingdom radically uplifting, mighty praise is deeper inside. Find it.
Authentisch ist ein Urban Hip-Hop-Tänzer für mich, wenn er auf die Fläche geht und alles um sich herum abschalten kann und sich einfach auf die Musik konzentrieren kann. Das versuche ich auch immer bei mir selber zu erreichen, wenn ich auf die Fläche gehe, dass ich einfach nur für mich und bei meinem Herzen bin und für mich tanze und alles um mich herum vergesse, weil ich finde, wenn man das schafft, das ist so ein tolles Gefühl und das ist wie eine Droge. Also für mich ist es wie eine Droge, und wenn ich das schaffe, dass ich das richtig fühle in mich selber, egal was für eine Leistung ich gebracht habe, ob jetzt die Jury oder die Zuschauer damit zufrieden waren oder nicht, wenn ich selber damit zufrieden war und es richtig gefühlt habe, das macht mich aus als Hip-Hop-Tänzerin.
Und Fake Hip-Hop sind zum Beispiel die Leute, die Hip-Hop ausnutzen, um Geld damit zu machen. Ne? Die Leute, die sich nicht richtig damit befassen, aber irgendwie ein Talent haben und gerade so durchkommen und einfach nur so sich die Hände reiben und sagen so, yeah, okay. und mache da einfach nur Geld und mache meine Geschäfte damit. So, ne? Das ist für mich Fake Hip-Hop. Ne?
Fake hip-hop is a word that I normally don't use because fake hip-hop is something... I think a person can be a fake. A person that tries to be someone else, a person that tries to be different than the person should be, and the person is in his heart. But if you follow your heart, then it's...
a fake crumb is something like that.
Then it's right. And fake is if you fake something, if you take on a mask and play a role of something else.
You know, I don't think anybody has the right to come to you and say like you're not real, or your hip hop is not real. It's like, you know, and instead of focusing on real and not real, we should focus on like what can we add. You know, how can we be more? How can we go deeper?
And all this stuff. But I think realness is something you have to define for yourself.
Really, you know, it's like, that's the thing, man, your hip-hop is not real. It's like, no, I'm doing it. I experience, my body hurts when I do it, and maybe I'm doing it like this. I don't mind, you know, because it's fucking global. We need to let it go.
Ich bin Real Hip-Hop, ne? Weil Real Hip-Hop ist jetzt so mittlerweile eine Linie geworden, der du folgen kannst. Dann bist du Real Hip-Hop. Weißt du, wenn du dich so und so kleidest, wenn du diese und diese Musik hörst und wenn du dich so und so ausdrückst, dann bist du Real Hip-Hop. So, und das ist eigentlich genau widersprüchlich zu dem, was Real Hip-Hop ist. Weil Real Hip-Hop ist ja eigentlich so wiederum deine Individualität zu zeigen. Zu zeigen, real, was bedeutet real? Wirklich und echt, ne? So wie du bist. Du zeigst dich so wie du bist und das ist dann wieder real. So, deswegen, wenn du nicht bist, was diese Hip-Hop-Linie so zeigt, dann bist du real, wenn du zeigst so, ich bin einfach anders, keine Ahnung, ne, wie man das zeigt. Aber oder wenn du aber in diese real Hip-Hop-Schiene reinpasst, aber das ist genau dein Ding, das was du fühlst, das was dein Herz ist, dann ist es auch wieder real. Aber wenn du diesen Weg gehst, nur um real zu sein, dann ist das wieder Bullshit, weißt du? Deswegen so, respektiere ich die Leute, die diesen real Hip-Hop-Weg gehen und sagen so, boah, das ist mein Pfad so, das ist das Ding, was ich machen will so, das ist geil für mich. Und die Leute, die sagen so, nee, ich bin irgendwie anders, aber ich mag trotzdem mich in der Hip-Hop-Welt so präsentieren, mit dieser Technik, weißt du? So, also ich respektiere beides so.
Hip-Hop dance, if you do hip-hop dance for winning, then it's unreal hip-hop. You have to do it because you want to do it, because you love to do it. You can't be without doing that. But if you're just a dancer to win the battle, then it's unreal hip-hop.
Yes, being real to yourself. Just do whatever you feel. Yeah.
Being true to yourself, being true to where you come from, being true to your community.
But it's like in ballet, you can't. Not everybody can be part of it. You have to be good. But in hip hop, it's about
more than just being good.
Yeah, it's not about being good. Definitely not.
The culture is more like a family, and it grows together. Even if there are people that having beef, it's always the unity. You're always a part of it. Yes.
The best example is, I think, wherever you go, you find hip-hop dancers or hip-hop rapper, or I don't know, even if it's forbidden, like in Iran, you will find them. And when you go there, you're immediately a part of it. If you have a hip-hop academy, it should force you to go to the clubs.
Yes.
Like lesson in the clubs.
Yes. Clubs are really important. They forget that it's not fun if they only train and train and train. So it all started in the clubs and on the streets. So
let's go back to the clubs and to the streets. Yes. Go back to basics, back to the roots. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Angefangen haben und für mich ist, sobald du Geld verdienst, ist es nicht mehr Underground. Weißt du, sobald du Geld hast, wird es Mainstream, ne? Dann wird es Commercial. Schon in dem Moment, wo du 1 Euro verlangst, weißt du, dann ist es nicht mehr Underground. So.
Happening in the world because hip-hop is globalized enormously. We don't have a real Dutch scene dancing, it's all international, it's all European, it's all world scene. And what is happening, you have guys like, let's say me, I'm a mainstream hip-hopper, I became a mainstream. I won big jams, with little jams, whatever. I can make good money with workshops. Right now my name is known from Japan to Russia, to America, which makes me not underground anymore. But there are a lot of dancers there, good dancers, that's still hip-hop. They come to jams, but they only go to cypher, right? They don't care about the crowd, they don't care about the money. This is underground hip-hop.
Wenn man Underground ist, ist die Zeit, wo keiner einen kennt und man will sich beweisen. Und da, wo man seine Skills erst richtig aufbaut. Und danach ist Business, das ist alles so Kopfsache, alles Planung. Ne? Aber Underground ist Skills.
Mainstream hip-hop is already about cash. It has to be, I have to make cash because it's my job. So already there is a difference between that. There's a difference between academical, and there's a difference between mainstream hip-hop, there's a difference between underground hip-hop. And the difference right now between underground and mainstream, people that are good and don't want to make money, that's the real underground. And where can you find those? Especially in poor countries. Everybody wants to win, everybody wants to make money. It's not bread per se.
So do you think that Just the Brew and Battle of the Year is already commercial?
Absolutely. Better say commercial and mainstream. Just the Brew and Battle of the Year, they help to make a mainstream and Red Bull BC1 and mainstream the hip-hop dance culture. Because people that win that, they become celebrities, and you know, it's like a snowball effect. So you have already Britney Spears of break and Britney Spears of hip-hop dance. You have your, you know, people that just pop music for me.
Everybody said, yeah, hip-hop shouldn't be commercial and stuff, but in the end they were like movies, how the people get the knowledge to say, okay, this is breaking, there's a break dancer and a papa or whatever. So it's really close to each other, the commercial scene and the underground scene, or the hip-hop, what we call. So the most important for me should be that people teach the right thing. So if you have an academy and you say, okay, this is a wave, that's not the real shit. So there are many possibilities to do a wave, and why you're doing this wave, or how you're doing this, how is the transition. So if the people teach the right way, it shouldn't be a problem to get to academy and learn it. But the people shouldn't forget that it's not coming from an academy, it's coming from the street, and it's used to teach in academies, because on street it's difficult to teach.
I don't know what academical hip-hop is.
I don't know either.
There's not such a thing as academic hip-hop. So to get an understanding of hip-hop, you should meet underground hip-hop. You should go there and go into it. There's no way, if there's 2 classes a week of hip-hop, you get into hip-hop. So you just get some techniques, and everything else you need to do by yourself. How can you compete with guys that are dancing this every day? You cannot. But you have a lot of other dancing, so you just get a part of it and you use it as a dancer. But if you want to become a hip-hop dancer, the school is not at all sufficient enough. It's not at all providing everything you need. It's giving you something. It's giving you a beginning, and it's up to you to develop it if you want to become a real hip-hop dancer, and then meet the underground hip-hop. Go there, and this is where you get the real hip-hop, not here in the academy.
In fact, of course, it has something to do with each other, the academies and the underground scene, but there's a whole gap between, a big gap between it, and it's because in academies you see the technique, you see the dance itself, but underground hip-hop is more than just dance. It's, of course, it is dance, but there's a lot around it. It's the jam, the cypher, the whole culture, the whole family. And I don't think that in academies, because in academies you're not going to an academy to get to know people, maybe. You go to an academy to learn, not to find a new family. But in underground hip-hop, you can find a family.
Thanks a lot to all the people that I could interview, because finally I found all the answers to the question that I had. I now know that the academy and the underground scene has two totally different aims. The academy is an institution that has a structure, and the student has to fit in the structure. The teacher will say you have to do this, this and this. And then later, if you are graduated, you're working in a production, and then the choreographer will say you have to do this, this and this. And it's becoming a part of the dance market, and it's being able to sell yourself with the skills that you learned in the academy. The underground scene is a totally different thing. It's really about something else. It's about the individual and being the master of yourself. And yeah, with being the master of yourself, with your skills, you go into the community, you go into the culture, and it's about each one, teach one. And it's art for the art, because it's just about being free, having fun, enjoying yourself. That's why I love so much the underground.